Hey guys, Collector here. Today we're talking about collecting and how to go about it and what you should do to prepare for it. I'm here with my boy Chad, who's recently trying to start a collection, and him and I got in this discussion about it. We thought it'd be a great idea to do a video. You know Chad from Greenlight Shooting. He does awesome videos that I'm in and makes me actually look good for once. Correct, Chad?
That's the hardest job of my
Oh
life.
yeah, I don't doubt it, especially need a wide angle lens with this belly. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So I've finally gotten to the point where I've started amassing, somewhat of a collection, and I just have a lot of questions. So first off, how long has this collection taken you to build?
Probably just over 20 years.
That's incredible. But so when you started, did you have, the resources you have now?
No, not even close. I think I was making $60,000 a year, $50,000 a year. So I was just getting started.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing, right? Like you come into this collection and you're like, I will never have this collection. Like I would compare my journey where I'm at right now to where you're at right now.
Right.
Which is not realistic. Like I have to think of where you started, right? So let's go over kind of the major things you've learned along the way building this collection to help out me as well as any of you that might have questions as to how to build your own collection. So starting out, let's just address the elephant in the room, get it out of the way right away. Budget.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's
obviously
really huge.
The budget, like when you started versus right now, is very different.
Right.
So take us back to the beginning. When you were making that $50,000, $60,000 a year, how were you budgeting?
Mainly I was budgeting because I was young, single, wanting to make money. I had the drive, would watch what I would spend my money on. Yeah, I would get crazy every once in a while, but not very often. And then I was fortunate enough when I had bought a car before I moved out here that was fairly cheap and I was able to pay it off fairly quickly. And when I did that, the payment I had on that car, I'd still act like I'm making the payment and put it in my savings account instead.
Gotcha, and that's the money you would use to buy the guns.
Buy the guns, correct.
Okay, so what are we talking here? Like a couple $100 a month?
Yeah, it was like a couple $100 a month, 3 or 4. I think it was like $300. But I made it to the point where I gave myself a rule that I would not access unless it was an emergency, and I had to make it to where I gotta drive to the bank, get the money out. I couldn't just made it easy and use my bank card.
Okay, so from what it sounds like to me is right at the beginning, you need to just establish somewhat of a budget that makes sense for your lifestyle,
correct,
right?
Correct.
You make $5,000 a month, half of that is bills, and then out of that other profit, I guess, how much can you set aside to be able to put towards this collecting thing?
Correct.
And then I think the next question then becomes, was collecting initially for you about a return on investment? Were you investing hoping to one day sell things, or were you just buying things because they made you happy?
At first it made me happy. I just did it because, I like that, I played that in Call of Duty, I want that, stuff like that.
Because it's cool.
Because it's cool. I mean, it was badass. That's was I initially started. But then as it went on, and then I met my wife and everything else, and she was already into collecting before I was even, born.
She's the OG,
basically.
man.
Yeah, exactly. And so she taught me things to where it changed my collection into the finer things as far as, look at serial numbers, all just different little things that at the time I didn't care about. I just wanted it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you're starting a collection with the intention of an investment and hoping to get a return on that investment, you're looking at things like serial numbers.
Yeah.
You're looking at things
Rarity.
that are exotic, unique, rare,
for sure.
as opposed to,
or even who used to own it. It could be a high serial number, and let's say, for example, John Wayne owned it. You don't care what serial number. If you had all the providence, all the paperwork, that route.
Okay.
I mean, who owned it? I mean, if you had Keanu Reeves owned one of these, John Wick guns, I'd be all over it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so once you have all these guns, you need somewhere to put them, right? Like I'm getting to that point where it's now starting to outgrow my little safe. So initially, it seems like there's two roads to take when you have a collection. Either one, displaying it for everyone to see, or keeping it all locked up. You have kids, whatever, you want to keep it in safes. So what are the recommendations you have on either of those, I guess?
Well, if you're going to display it, I'd definitely go with a Galotech or something for sure.
And what's Galotech?
Galotech is mainly the display company that they sell all the framing, all the systems, so you can display your guns. They have all the mounts that hold the guns up.
So like in the vault room in there, like the
correct,
stuff that's on the walls.
The vault room. Yeah,
that's what's Galotech is.
Yeah, when I first did it, we went this route, and this is slat wall.
Okay.
And I bought that at it was like an office supply company for offices, like retail.
It does kind of look like that.
And so when you go to the clothing store, you see this kind of stuff, and that's where we got it. And I went with a lighter color so the guns pop.
That makes sense.
Because if you go dark colors, you're hiding the guns in a way. So this stuff makes the color of the guns pop. But this was not an easy route to go. If the Galvatech was around then, I would have bought Galvatech before I bought all this.
Really?
Because it's much easier to install. This was not easy. It took 4 people to install panels because you got to hit the studs just right. You do with the Galvatech, but it's much easier to handle.
Got it.
So, but that's one way. That, or you just get a nice Rhino safe, put the guns in there if you don't want anybody to see it.
Yeah, I think still having a nice safe though, at least when you open the door, everything's presented nicely.
Right.
There's lights
100%.
inside, all that.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's probably the route I'll go. I have 3 kids, obviously, so I think I'd want to keep them locked up.
Oh yeah.
But I still want to be able to display them safely. So when a friend comes over, I can open that thing and they can still be like, wowed.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I have ran into is like this thing of quality versus quantity, right? Like, I love 1911s. Those are maybe my top priority. I love those. I happen to love this gun specifically, which is a green Cabot.
The Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of like my, the top of what I would want. This gun is how much?
I think it was like 8,000.
So this thing is $8,000. I can get 10, big box manufacturer 1911s for that price. So what is more valuable for me, to have 10 of those 1911s that are subpar, or to have 1 Cabot?
Good question. It depends. If you want for resale value, I'd go with the Cabot. But if you're going to shoot all the time, I go buy the 10. If you're going to constantly shoot. I mean, fortunate enough, I'm lucky enough to have the guns. I can just grab one and go shoot them. These I won't shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
If I didn't have all these, I just had this one, I probably wouldn't buy just that one. I'd buy 10 of them because I know I'm going to go shoot.
Yeah, that's hard, huh?
It's very,
I would
very
want to
different.
shoot it. If I only had one 1911, I'd want to shoot
you'd
it.
want to shoot. I mean, granted, if you had in a self-defense situation, you would grab the first gun you saw and use it.
Sure.
No matter what
But
the
just
cost
going to
is.
the range to shoot.
You go to the range and shoot. You're not going to conceal carry. You're not going to throw it in your truck. You're not going to do that. I would definitely not do that with that gun. I would use my normal Glock or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a real tough one. It all falls back to the budget. It really does.
Falls back to the budget, and then it sounds like, once again, it also falls back to investment versus what makes you happy, what you want to use them for.
Right. Now, if you want to start off, get a gun like that, and you're not going to shoot it in your mindset, and you maybe have something else you play with, like a pellet gun, but you want something that's cool, that's a rarity item, you could buy something like that and plink around with your pellet guns all day, so you're still shooting something, but you still have a cool gun to display or show.
Right. Okay. And something that not only holds its value, but probably increases in value.
Oh yeah, guns always go up in value, is my personal opinion. Some people may not think that, but I do. But that gun, you could turn around and sell it for the same amount of money you'd at least break even.
Got it.
You're not losing money. You're basically renting a gun, holding on to it until you either pass away or you just want to sell it to get some money back because you need money.
Yeah. And the next question I have for you is, let's say you were starting over and you didn't have an unlimited budget. What are the things that you would start over with?
As far as guns to buy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd probably, if I was going to start collecting, I'd probably start with Glocks because they're on the cheaper side. And they're like a car. You can soup them up. There's different options you can do with it. I'd probably go into the Glocks if I didn't have my budget, just because they're just much easier to come by, I guess.
Right. Okay. So, like, for instance, this Terran Combat Master Glock, you would recommend starting off picking a category of thing. And it sounds like, obviously, handguns are less expensive than rifles.
Correct.
So they're a good place to start.
Now, they don't take as much space.
That's, a really good point. and then Glocks, because there are so many different varieties of those.
Correct, 100%.
So you would build out sort of your Glock thing first and then expand once you...
Right, and don't get me wrong, there's varieties of 1911s, stuff like that. But this, to me, Glocks, I mean, I'm not knocking Hondas whatsoever, but they're kind of like Hondas. You can buy them at a reasonable price, great miles per gallon, great everything you can possibly think of, reliability. Same with Glocks, and you can add stuff to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lights, whatever. I mean, granted, you could do that with every gun, but there's more options for Glocks than your standard pistol, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get where you're going with it. The last thing, which is something that I didn't really think about until I heard you talking about something else, is like insurance.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you've amassed this collection now. It's been 20 years. You've got 500 guns. Do you insure them?
Oh yeah, I do a stated value. We'll go through it, then we hand everything to the insurance company, let them know what the stated value is. Sometimes they send an appraiser out, not very often, that's only happened once. But normally they go off basically what our list. We do an inventory about, well recently we probably need to do it because the guns are getting here a lot faster lately. So probably gonna do it every 6 months. And we come up with that, give them the dollar amount, then we insure it for that particular dollar amount.
Gotcha. So that's like if the
it's basically like a rider, it's a house caught fire.
Yeah.
So we get all that
house
back.
burned down or something, you're covered.
I'm covered. Correct.
Gotcha. Got it. Okay. And then is that like, I can just call my homeowners?
You call your homeowners. And the other thing is, not a lot of insurance companies will cover that. Just like certain car things, you know, some insurance companies, especially the high risk ones, won't cover certain things on cars. Sometimes there's a good one called X Insurance out there. They cover this kind of stuff for sure. I can't remember what the policies, what they cost and stuff, but I think it all depends on your value, what you have.
Right.
So
yeah, that's interesting, man. I never would have thought of that. So
it's just an insurance policy. You feel comfortable back of your head. So if you left your house, God forbid, if it burned down, you know you're covered.
Okay. All right. So to recap here, what did we learn? We learned, number one, you got to figure out your budget. Yep. You got to figure out what makes sense for you, and then you just have to have the discipline to sort of put aside, whether it's $200 a month you're putting aside, $50 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever it is. You just got to put it somewhere safe where you can't touch, and then just build that up and have the discipline to do so. Second is you need to figure out, I guess, what you're doing it for. Is this an investment that you're trying to make money on, or is this something that you want to shoot and have fun and it's for you?
Right.
And obviously there can be crossover, but I guess which side of those you're leaning on.
Correct.
And then after that, I guess deciding quantity versus quality, which kind of just feeds into that last one. Is this something that you want to have 10 of these guns or one of these guns with the potential to resell?
Correct.
We learned you absolutely need to insure these things.
Yeah.
And then
that's big. That's huge.
And then you need to figure out how you want to display these. Whether you want to display them openly, keep them in a safe, whatever it is.
Yeah, because my house before, I just took a bedroom and I went to a hardware store, bought that brushed aluminum and just displayed it on there, and that's how I did it. And I wish I had pictures back in the day of that. But that's how I did it before. I went slowly. I just did small purchases here and there and just gradually built it up. My first biggest purchase was the Barrett 50 cal.
Yeah.
That was my first purchase.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'll never get rid of that gun just because of that.
That is something that's really cool. It's like, I can tell you guys from being, friends with him for so long, is like, this isn't something that he did for YouTube. He didn't, he's not like...
I wasn't going to do it for YouTube. That wasn't even in the radar. That wasn't even in the radar. I was like, who wants to see this shit?
Yeah. But it was never like a let me show off my collection for money, or like let me build a collection for money. No, he properly loves this stuff and has been collecting well before YouTube, and I'm sure well after, if this ever ends.
I definitely after. I just wish I started doing the YouTube stuff 10 years ago.
Yeah, it would be cool to see like the humble beginnings and then see it grow to what it is now, because seeing it now is, it's
it's kind of it's a wow factor.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I think it took you 2 years to talk me into doing YouTube?
Yeah, but cool. I feel like I got a lot of value out of that. Okay. I'm excited to build my collection.
If you have any questions at all, make sure you put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. I'll give you the info and tell you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I could definitely help you out for sure. But I want to wish Chad good luck on his collection. I know he'll do just fine. I'll point him in the right directions and give him some nice green guns that he likes so much.
I've already got a nice black and gold Agency Nighthawk.
Yeah, that was a cool present.
That's the centerpiece of the collection now.
Yeah, that's
Let's
pretty
be
cool.
honest.
It's pretty cool. I enjoyed buying that one for you and ordering that. So it worked out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this will set you straight on what you need to do for your collection. Just hit like and subscribe and take care.
Subscribe to this man.